My name is Chris Bailey, and this is my response to Adichie's The Danger of a Single Story. Um, Supposed to tell about a time or a story that I heard about a group of people or persons that changed my perspective and how my perspective of them changed as I encountered them over time. And I felt like a good group of people to do that on would be the gay community, because in Adichie's presentation, she was telling about how she didn't know anything about the other countries that she was writing about, how they were kind of foreign to her, and she was just experiencing them and imagining them. And that's kind of how the gay community was for me growing up, because I grew up in the Bible Belt and we didn't really know much about them. They were undercover, especially growing up in the 90s. They weren't a big thing, they were down low and kind of despised. And I kind of didn't really encounter many of them until I got older and experienced them in life and worked beside them and played sports with them. And I guess we grew up and some of the guys started coming out, and it was like, oh, okay, well, you know what I'm saying, you just the same as me. It's just a thing of preference. And a great way to understand them was, I guess, the feminist criticism, how they how they fight for their rights, similar to how the women fought for equal rights and rights to vote, and how they're fighting for their rights to be married now, and you know what I'm saying, their right to be in the military, you know what I'm saying, just the same as the women did. And um great great point, great story to kind of mirror that would be Linda Ho's The Night Waitress, how in the back of her mind her mother and religion is still playing a role in her life, but she's also still doing her own thing. But while she's doing her own thing, like, the world is still going on around her. She's still like she's going on in like the background. She's her own person, but she's in her own world. And that's kind of similar to the gay community, because how they went from being on the down low and being underground, and now they're fighting for their rights and have their movements, and you know what I'm saying, they're developing their voice, I guess. And another great point would be uh, Faulkner's Evening Sun, and the women's roles and the roles that they play, and how Nancy was kind of submitted into that women's role of servant, and Miss Thompson was playing her role as like the housewife and the mother, just the maiden of the house. And Nancy was kind of the servant and house servant, and she just played that role. And how the gay community just play their roles, because before I thought that they just were like really feminine guys. That's the only way that Hollywood portrays them, or portrayed them whenever I was growing up, was like girly guys. But going out and experiencing them and working with them and seeing them beat up a couple guys, you change your perspective on them and see that they're just like us, I guess. And in conclusion, I would say that you know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and especially not because preference, because everybody has their preference of things that they like, and just because they like something different, then you shouldn't make you judge them entirely different. You know, it could be a good thing.